everybody, and welcome in to another episode of the Couch GMs podcast. It is Thursday, December 18th, 2025. I'm your host, George Kirk, joined by Cody Roadcap and our good friend, Kempy. Cody, good to see you, even though we expected you to not be here. Kempy, nice to have you on again.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I'm excited for another week and another week closer to hopefully some fantasy championships.
2 weeks left if your league's doing it the right way. Cody, what brings you here? Just stumbled on in?
Yeah, I'm pretending I'm not here. I'm just here so I don't get fined.
I was gonna find him, so I'm glad he listens. There's so much Christmas happening on this screen. I don't know what's going on.
Happy holidays.
Kempy's like halfway into some kind of floral something. I don't know.
There we
Some
go.
garlic here.
A little bit easier on the eyes.
Make sure you're following us at the Couch GMs on Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok to get even more you do from the show. You can see what is going on live Mondays and Thursdays at 6:30 East, or you can check us out next day and you can still see these videos later on your podcast platform or on Facebook. Next week, scheduling note before we go to the show here. Only a Tuesday show next week with Cody and I because of the holiday. We're going to get you as close to those like Christmas games as we can before we do our preview. But taking a little bit of time for the holiday. DM's still open. Still find us on social media. We're still definitely here to help you out as you go into your fantasy championships. Just won't be live on the air. All right, guys, what is happening? Cody's out here putting Santa in his swim trunks on here, but he can't make a holiday intro for what's happening.
Wow.
Yeah, we need the festive spirit here. Nothing's more festive than Santa putting lights on a pineapple. And he's out.
Well, that's what I was hoping for. Just kidding. Come
Can't
back.
get rid of me that easily, George.
All right. Start with news. Dolphins news. He did not look good in the cold as usual, but Tua has officially been benched this week. Dolphins going to Quinn Ewers, who was the third string quarterback, skipping right over Zach Wilson. What are your guys' thoughts on the Dolphins here? And it'd be a major cap hit if they decide to move on from this offseason. So, like, do you think they're going to try to anyway? Or is this just a see what we got out of Quinn and then figure it out next year with Tua?
Yeah. Go ahead, Cody.
I was going to say, this move in general makes absolute zero sense to me. Like, Quinn's not good. Like, you thought Tua had a weak arm. Quinn's right there. This is going to be, I think Mike McDaniel is now out. I thought there was a chance he was going to save his season, come back. I think he's out if they're going to move on from Tua. I don't know if they can swallow the pill of $99 million dead cap of Tua next year. Can they potentially get a team to, do the Osweiler trade where they're, hey, we'll give you Tua in a second or for a 5th round pick or something like that just to help alleviate that. But still, it's going to leave a ton of dead cap. His potential out's in 2027. So I expect Tua to be back in Miami next year as well. Maybe a new head coach, maybe not. Just Miami's a mess right now.
And honestly, I didn't expect Miami to necessarily go from that to mess real quick. And I know the Tyreek injury hurt, and I know the season didn't start the way they wanted, but they were on a 4-game win streak. They were on a lot of those graphics on TV for in the hunt. And to all of a sudden just say, after a not terrible loss against the Steelers, they did come back. They're done with their franchise quarterback, the guy they tanked for just a few years ago. For a 7th round rookie quarterback, it is kind of mind blowing.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense why you would bench Tua one bad game coming off of a 4-game win streak, and there's no out to get him out of there next year. Like, if there was the out, maybe then yeah, you're trying to see if you have a miracle in the rough there with Quinn Ewers, but you don't. And then you're basically signaling this is the end, almost like what the Cardinals did with I don't expect Kyler Murray back in Arizona. He maybe was able to come back with that injury sometime this year, I would assume, but they were like, nah, he's going to stay on IR. He's done. So it doesn't make a lot of sense why they're doing this unless, like Cody said, they're trying to find someone who is going to take a bunch of money from Tua and they're going to get rid of Mike McDaniel. But I thought Mike McDaniel saved his job too.
Maybe they'll swap Tua for Kyler, and we'll just have some random thing going on next year.
So we're swapping Tua
Handshake
for
agreement.
Kyler. We're going to swap Burrow for 9, right?
Could be.
We'll see. There's a lot of cryptic messages out there right now that who knows. Keep an eye on Tua's Instagram as well.
Burrow just posted "Thank you Cincinnati" with a peace sign and hashtag skull. What do you mean?
He was hacked.
Yeah.
That's what they all say. Were they really hacked?
I'm just telling you, hacked.
I mean, sometimes I believe that. Other times I'm like, he's playing.
Yeah, it's just a mess right now overall, I would say, in Miami, in Cincinnati. I guess it's a coin flip if it's happening in Minnesota too, but I guess that's just what are we on, 15, 16 brings in the NFL.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson's having a great time right now with 9, and all fantasy owners that have him are having a great time too. I've officially given up myself, even though it's a good matchup this week, but I'm sure we're going to talk plenty of wide receivers and who you might want to play over him and et cetera as we get to starts and sits. Jets are also basically throwing in the towel. I know they have 2 quarterback injuries with Fields and I can't even remember Tyrod Taylor, but they're starting Brady Cook this weekend. Get out of here. But they're starting Brady Cook this weekend regardless. So even less hope for weapons like Breece Hall, who you might still have in your lineups.
Bro, if you've been playing the Jets, you're in the consolation bracket. I commit. I'll die on that hill. No one's got Breece Hall still playing for a ship.
Love to see some
Breece Hall on the bench
if you do. Yeah.
Screenshots if you have Breece Hall in your starting lineup last week and won a playoff game. Let's move to injuries. Devontae Adams. I don't think there's official actives and inactives yet for this week, but Devontae Adams was doubtful on the Rams injury report. I do not expect him to be up tonight in a key matchup for the Rams against the Seahawks.
All right, let's talk about him. Let's do some fan questions. First of all, George, joining the Beard Gang.
Playoff beard, Jen. Playoff beard.
But it's taken 13 weeks to get to where we're at right now, so it's been a while.
Not 13 weeks, but basically, I think this is week 3 or 4.
All right, but the real question was about our real talk was Devontae Adams. So someone asks, Stafford with no Adams tonight versus Seattle, or Tyler Shao, however you pronounce it, versus the Jets. Let's ask our Tyler.
So I think we would have to go with Stafford with no Adams. He has proven that he has other weapons in that offense. And I think he is a trustworthy quarterback. Do I love the start? Not as much as I loved it in the past 15 weeks. But I don't think you can trust Tyler Shuck out there. And I think it is Shuck.
I think
the weirdest spelling ever. Shuck against the Jets. I think that there are still some pieces on that Jets defense that can make stops. So especially maybe even without the running game, I think I'm still leaning Stafford. He got you there. You got to keep him in your lineup.
Yeah, I think there's some guys I would debate playing over Stafford, and I'll even throw a question out to you guys in my situation. Stafford or Jared Goff this week?
Probably
I think I have to Goff. Yeah, I would agree with that because all the weapons are there for him.
All the weapons are there for him, and he's got a good matchup this week against Pittsburgh. They've not been good against the pass, but so like there's an example of I would start Stafford most weeks over Goff. I actually have, but in this case, I would fade Stafford to that point, but it's not all the way down to Shuck.
Can I interest you in 9?
No.
Okay, but you say that. But the Giants.
Stafford wears 9. Yes, I would play him.
I'm saying, can I interest you in 9 over Tyler Shuck? If you're looking for someone on the waiver, back-to-back 20 points, QB 7 and QB 10 over the last 2 weeks against the Giants.
Yeah. I would do that. When you said that, I was still thinking you were saying 9 over Stafford, so that's a no. But no, I would play McCarthy over Shuck.
Agreed. He's not at the bottom.
No,
but I think he's below the 9th ranked quarterback. That's for sure.
This is a disaster already. I like this, having 3 of us on here.
And just for added context, it sounds like he dropped. Oops, too many buttons. He dropped 9 for Shuck. So maybe pick him back up.
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, a lot of people are high on Shuck this week, and he's been decent. It's just one of those guys I can't get behind starting in fantasy quite yet. Ask me next year if they have him starting and they're doing better.
Agreed.
George, I don't have the rundown, so I have no idea what's next.
You're good. I'll keep us moving. Bears ruled out both Roma Dunze and Luther Burden for this week. I know we were expecting Odunze. Burden kind of came out of nowhere, and a lot of people added him on the wire to either play him in a flex or play him as a replacement to Odunze, so that one hurts.
Olamide Zacchaeus, step up.
Yeah. DJ Moore looked alive last week. I had him down my depth chart, but I guess he's sliding back up.
Colston Loveland, anybody? We're going to throw some tight ends in the flex this week.
Really, I like the Bears, both Bears running backs in this game. I think it's going to be. I mean, obviously, the Packers lost Micah Parsons. That's a big part of this. The defense they're going up against each other. I think the run game will be taken advantage of in the cold in Chicago. I just expect it to be a high dose of the run game from Ben Johnson and crew.
Yep, I would agree with that. Those short dump off passes to a Loveland mixed in with the 2-headed monster that is being created right now in Chicago.
They're a much better rushing team than they are passing team. That's how it's been lately.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to pretend it's a fan question.
Okay, cool.
All right. Caleb Williams or 9?
I would say give me Caleb. I trust him with his legs more than I trust 9. And granted, I know he just ran one in for a touchdown last week against the Cowboys. I know 9 has more weapons, especially healthy right now, but I still think the way Caleb has been scrambling and making plays, I would start Caleb.
I think I disagree, and I'm going to go 9. The matchup is good. He came through in a good matchup last week. Caleb, do you know what Caleb did against the Packers the last time? Because I don't think it was great.
I mean, middle tier. I can pull up.
So
I know there was an interception at the end of the game.
Yeah.
So
he
that'll
finished
right away.
15.9. So QB 16.
Yeah, he did have a decent game against Cleveland, which has been a negative matchup too. But no, I mean, the inconsistency kills me with Caleb. Not having his receivers hurts me. I think I'm actually leaning 9 in your case.
Great.
You're welcome for the split.
Just keep adding more people on here. We'll get different opinions as well.
Yeah, there we go. Everyone just start dropping a random quarterback on the wire in the chat, and we'll just keep throwing it in. Rashee Rice was randomly put into concussion protocol on Monday after he came down with symptoms post-game. He has still not practiced. We have to wait to see what his injury status is going to be. If he goes, we know there's no Mahomes, so it's Gardner Minshew. Are you good with still throwing him in your lineup? If he doesn't go, are you good with going with the streamer of Xavier Worthy?
I really don't want to touch any Chiefs right now, to be honest with you. I need a week, and if there's any confidence, go into the championship. Hopefully, if your team makes it, I think Worthy would be the most started guy. Obviously, there's Kelsey as well, who he was targeted a lot in the little time that Gardner Minshew was on the field. But at this point, there's got to be a lot going wrong for me to really want to start Xavier Worthy without Rashee Rice out there. And I did see that Rashee Rice might not clear concussion protocol yet too, because I believe you still need 2 clean days or tests. So it has to happen by tomorrow for him to play on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, if Rice goes, I think I'd still trust him in my lineup. I don't think I'd want anybody else, though.
Mm-hmm.
He's just somebody who's been good enough that you're like, you can't avoid it.
And it's the Titans.
That too. We've seen some Minshew magic before.
Yeah, he'll throw a couple touchdowns. He's like Western Jameis Winston. Like he'll do something.
So I have Rice in my lineup. If he goes, you say it should go. If he does not go, I have the backup option of Marv if he goes too, but he's next on our list. He's been a limited participant with his heel. He says he feels good, so there's a chance there, but I'm waiting to see. My other options are Darren Waller, which is just a great time, or I would have to go to the wire and get somebody like a Jalen Coker or an Ad Mitchell. What do you guys suggest I do there?
One, before I tell you what to do, shout out to Darren Waller last week. 23 points in the last 11 minutes of the game, fantasy-wise.
Tight end, was it National Tight Ends Day 2 last week?
It sure felt it.
I mean, we saw Jonnu Smith do something similar the year before. Them Dolphins tight ends just to love make some noise in the last, 10 minutes of a game to help people win their fantasy playoffs. But to your question, if you're stuck between Jalen Coker and Ad Mitchell, flip a coin, spin the wheel. It don't matter, bro. It's a toss-up all the way around.
So Darren Waller's the answer.
Even with a rookie quarterback who typically might target tight ends, I can't confidently put Waller out there. I picked him up in our league record and then actually dropped him for another depth piece because after that Tua news, it was kind of like, okay, is that the same guy that's going to get 23 out there?
Yeah,
so that's tough.
I wouldn't play. I'm not playing anybody. I mean, obviously Achane, but Waddle maybe because he can still take a 3-yard screen pass to the house, but
if he gets them thrown to him and he's on the field, I feel like he wasn't on the field on Monday. It was infuriating.
So, all right, fan question.
Yeah, and I know you're gonna love this one.
I'm staying out of this. But should I start Jason Myers tonight with the weather, or switch to Dicker or Fairbairn from Daniel's over on YouTube? I said I'm staying out of this one, but I'm picking up Cameron Dicker if he's available, and I'm playing him.
Yeah, I'm not dropping Myers either because he's literally got the NFL record for field goals in a single season. He's been kind of, just dominating the kicker position. But I think I would go Dicker this week and then keep Myers for next week.
Yeah, the weather's tough right now. The way they're calling for 40-mile-per-hour gusts in Seattle. It is hard to bench the record holder, though, for kicks. And, I mean, they kicked, 6 last week?
Yeah.
In a division game, it could be close. I am still leaning starting Jason Myers.
I mean, the bonus is he's probably going to kick a couple short ones still because they don't know how to use their running backs in the red zone. Shout out Zach Charbonnet. I still hate him. I haven't talked about him in a few weeks. I had to bring it up.
I'm rolling with Dicker. Dicker the kicker. And against Dallas, they'll be able to move the ball.
All right. 2 more receiver injuries I have on my list here. We got T. Higgins is still in concussion protocol, limited participant. I know it was like a reoccurring concussion, so that's why he definitely missed last week. And I'm not sure if the protocol is any different or if they're any more, cautious with these guys when it is the second concussion. So I'm not saying for sure he's going to go this week. And then Drake London, he is a limited participant coming back from his knee injury. It sounded like it was optimistic for him at the beginning of the practice week.
I know Kempy was biting at the bit to get Drake London back in his lineup.
Absolutely. I have him in a few places right now, and I have been on Twitter nonstop this week ever since Tuesday, just constantly refreshing the feed, looking for updates, seeing reports on if he would go. It's Raheem Morris's job on the line. He needs to make a statement. I am hoping London is in, and I think he will produce if he's in. Sorry to those Kyle Pitts owners, because I believe that some of your 40 points will be spread around this week, and hopefully a little bit more going to Drake London.
Drake London has been insanely good when he's been in the lineup, and that's a big reason why there hasn't been much else out there on that team besides Bijan. Even Bijan's had some bad games because London scores 3 touchdowns in a single game. But it's
Or
been
Algier.
sad to see. Well, Algier in the red zone. You're right too.
Algier.
It's been sad to see that London's been out so much with injury this year.
Yeah, but the T. Higgins news also does concern me a little bit with the concussion. They're not playing for much, and it kind of relates to Rashee Rice a little bit too. You don't have anything to play for it. You don't want to make concussions worse. The NFL certainly doesn't want to see any concussions get worse or anybody risk it a little bit. So I am more confident in London coming back than I am T. Higgins.
Yeah, I'm also more confident in London coming back than Higgins just because I have a feeling I don't think he's going to be out for the year, but there's no reason to rush him back anymore. So I'm with that. And I do think it could be a big game for Chase regardless because I don't see the Bengals getting shut out again, even though they just did. Because, I mean, with Burrow, that's not going to happen often. The Ravens just happen to have their number.
Mm-hmm.
It's Pitts' year, and Pitts I trust, says Brandon.
Can't see it. I don't want to see it.
My next lineup question for you guys to randomly throw in here before we get to starts and sits. I have a league where I have Pitts and Brock Bowers. Where are you going?
I trust Pitts. Or you trust Brock?
If Geno plays, it sounds like Geno's going to be back this week.
Okay, I would agree with that. If Geno's in, I'm going Brock. If it's Kenny Pickett again, especially they are playing the Texans this week. Did I see that? Or are they playing the Saints? Which lineup am I thinking of?
They should have the Texans.
The Texans, yeah. The Texans defense is tough, but if Geno's in, Geno's going to sling it. What does he have to lose? So I would go Bowers. But if for some reason it's Kenny Pickett again, I'm going Pitts.
And I know the Texans defense is, scary because they're very good. But McBride had a big game against them last week, so like a tight end can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very true. I mean, it seems like there's tight ends each week now. They're just going to randomly popping off. So we're just going to have to try to guess who that guy is this week. Trey McBride is basically the question.
Yeah, Tyler Warren, tight end that got a lot of people to the playoffs. Now a questionable quarterback in Phillip Rivers. No offense there, Grandpa, but you got another one in Kelsey who now has Minshew. So tight ends, the dartboard is getting bigger. There's no more stable as there was.
Dare I say Dallas Goedert might be working his way off the dartboard at this point because of everyone going onto it.
Agreed.
Speaking of dartboards.
Yeah.
Is your guys' TikTok algorithm full of the Dart World Championships and how much fun that looks like?
I have not seen that.
Oh my God. Dude, this dude, he has Titanium by David Guetta as his walkout song, and the whole place goes crazy. Highly recommend if you're tired of football, you're out of the playoffs. Check out the Dart World Championships on TikTok. It's some great content.
There we go.
Okay. I guess
anybody out of the playoffs
on the show that just throws it on there for you.
I guess.
Oh man. All right, let's jump into some starts and sits of the week.
Oh, that was my cue, huh?
Yeah. All right, so we have 3 of us here and we have 6 guys. So do you guys just want to take turns here and cherry pick who you want off of our list?
We got some breaking news before we do starts and streams.
Yeah.
Trade deadline acquisition Jacoby Myers has made such an impression with the Jacksonville Jaguars. He has signed a 3-year, $60 million contract extension. So it seems like Jacoby Myers is not a half-a-year rental. He is going to sit around in Jacksonville. Or stay around, not sit.
I like it. It adds more weapons. Yeah, weapons in Jacksonville right now, especially with the offensive mind that they have in Cohen. I think it's a nice move. He's 29.
I wonder if this sparks any more of the Brian Thomas potential trade rumors, or if they're just going to let Travis Hunter play cornerback, or this doesn't affect either of that.
This seems like it makes sense to me because they'll get most of the way through this contract or all the way through this contract before they have to sign Brian Thomas to his second deal. But maybe it is more what you're saying, that this gives them the option to move on from Brian Thomas, and they can probably get a pretty decent haul. Even though he hasn't done well this year, people know the upside.
Yeah. But that's an off-season conversation. We can do starts and sits.
All right. So you guys, like I said, we want to go just around the horn here and pick a guy off the list.
Love it.
Okay. Cody, you're not here. Go first.
For a start,
Take a start. Anyone you want. We're gonna do 2 running backs, 2 receivers, and 2 flexes. We're not gonna do it in any particular order this time. Just go pick whoever you want to talk about off here.
all right, I will take Kyle Monungai versus the Green Bay Packers. I hinted at it earlier when we talked about Caleb Williams not having Roma Dunze and or Luther Burden. Obviously, the Micah Parsons injury plays into it. Don't forget the last time these two teams played late in the second half, they lost Devontae Wyatt, their defensive tackle. That is their big body up front. The second half of that first game, they really found the run game. I like Monungai. I like Swift. Monungai is technically the backup, so I'll say start him.
Interesting that we've almost all year been saying sit running backs against Green Bay. And now it's funny, the playoffs come and the situation in Chicago where like start both Bears running backs against Green Bay.
Oh, I mean, Packers put 10 people as questionable this week. And that doesn't include putting Micah Parsons on IR, putting their defense tackle on IR last week. They're just really banged up right now. So,
and I agree. I had shades of thinking of that first week that the Cowboys lost Micah Parsons. And I'm sorry to interrupt, but thinking about that week against the Eagles, opening night, not going into a season thinking you have Micah Parsons and then not having him, it's tough to plan for. He is such a great defensive player that it's going to take a little bit of time, I think, for the Packers' run defense to figure out what do they still have.
Yeah, I agree. And for what it's worth, teams, I believe, playing outside of Denver, they're 0-7 the following week, readjusting from playing in altitude. So keep that in the back of your mind too.
All right, I'll go next. I'm going to pick Tyrone Tracy versus Minnesota. So since the change at head coach in New York, there's been a lot more focus on the run game, and it has been kind of a split between Tracy and Singletary. But middle tier matchup, and then Tracy going off last week really gives me confidence that he'll be able to eat against Minnesota this week.
I mean, I don't think that's the greatest matchup, but you do you.
It's middle of the road.
Yeah, I said you do you.
Yeah.
I don't fully agree with that one, but you do you.
Okay.
I think for my start this week, I am going to pick Mike Evans. And I left Mike Evans on my IR spot or on my bench last week because I did not know what to expect against the Falcons.
Me too.
Big mistake on my part. Luckily, I made it to the next round, but without a doubt, this is a must-win game for the Bucs. And I think you're going to see a lot of targets for Mike Evans' way. Mike Evans has historically destroyed the Panthers secondary. And I think this is going to be another game where you're going to see Baker Mayfield peppering him with targets, and you're going to see at least a touchdown. Because I believe, if the stat's correct, Mike Evans has scored in his last 9 games against the Panthers. So I believe that this will be another week. If you benched him last week, this is your revenge week if you're in it. But he's a guy that I think you have to have in your lineup in a big game.
I agree with that. I was impressed with how much they started peppering with targets right off the bat. I was expecting a ramp-up period, which is why I wasn't even thinking about starting him last week. Nope, he was like, I'm going to ruin everybody else's fantasy value because I'm going to go right back to being the guy. You think they're still trying to get him 2 huge games and see if they can get him to 1,000? I know he ended up being on IR 1 extra week, but when he was expected to come back in week 14, not 15, they were like 132 yards a game gets him there.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. But if Baker has that mindset and that he's going to pepper him with targets, I think he's a must start. And it wasn't 9 games in the last touch, and I stand corrected. I'm just looking at it now, but he has historically murdered this defense, and I think he will do it again on Sunday.
Cool. I think we're back to Cody.
Back to me. I don't know how I feel about this, but I'm going to say start Zay Flowers, wide receiver versus the Baltimore Ravens. Now, on paper, you see the New England Patriots. You think good defense. They've been low-scoring game. Obviously, you've heard all about the schedule they played. They are susceptible. They give up a decent amount of points to the wide receiver. It's a positive matchup. Zay Flowers is coming off of back-to-back double-digit weeks. So I think in a good matchup, coming off some good games, the Ravens are fighting for their playoff hopes. I like his streak to continue.
He has definitely been better lately, and it was actually surprising for me to see coming into last week, he was top 10 in the league in receiving yards. And the reason he's not that high in fantasy minds is because he only had one touchdown coming into last week. He got his second. So that current wide receiver 20-ish spot, if he even had a decent amount of touchdowns, he'd be a top 10 receiver, and everyone would be just like, wow, Zay Flowers having a great year.
Yeah, play him against New England.
All right, back to me. I'm going to say Jameson Williams versus Pittsburgh. I mean, playing anyone that catches the ball against Pittsburgh seems to be a great idea. And Jameson Williams has been the guy that has been feasting since they put Sam Laporta on IR. So expect a couple big plays against that porous secondary.
I love that one as well. And yeah, he's been stepping up huge, even with Amon-Ra staying healthy in that lineup. My last start is going to be Quinshaw Judkins. And a lot of fantasy managers might have lost some faith in him. I think he's had back-to-back weeks of less than 30 yards. I think he was impacted by some negative game script. The Bills' rushing offense is not good. They're now, I think, giving up the fourth most points to running backs. You saw last week, I believe Chase Brown had 2 receiving touchdowns. I think that this is going to be a huge week for Judkins as long as they don't immediately go into that negative game script again. I think if they give him the ball, he can light up that defense. But overall, I think you should start him this week over a few names like a Jalen Warren. I'm in one league where I have Jalen Warren, and after seeing last week and how much Kenny Gainwell's been used, that would be my question for you guys. Would you guys start Quinshaw Judkins or Jalen Warren?
Judkins.
I'm also going Judkins. Judkins is almost in a similar situation with the Dylan Sampson taking away some passing down work, but I am still thinking the upside's higher on Judkins.
And he currently has 10th place Pro Bowler in votes, Shedeur Sanders.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. We'll see what that game script looks like.
I mean, Ravens backup quarterback Pro Bowler Tyler Huntley has something to say about it.
He was an alternative.
Shedeur
Sanders is currently top 10 in quarterback voting.
Wow.
Well, he might end up being an alternative too.
Probably. Because I think Mahomes ain't going to be there, so he's top 9.
Fan question?
Yeah. Of course.
Cool. Jay Weezy on YouTube. Need to pick one receiver, one running back, and one flex. Not sure I should be picking. We got Rico Dowdle, Kenny Gainwell, Woody Marks, Michael Wilson, Zay Flowers, and Jacoby Myers.
So this one's tough because we don't fully know if Woody Marks is going to play with the injuries there.
We also don't know if Marv is going to play, which would affect Michael Wilson significantly.
For sure. But for me, I think for this one, I am leaning towards I have to stick with Zay Flowers as my wide receiver because I just said start him. Jacoby Myers has been good, but he gets to play Denver, which is scary. Gainwell, you think the Lions are going to score points, so I think you would like him in the passing option. So he's like an intriguing flex play for me, especially like if Woody Marks doesn't go and Marv is back. If Marv isn't there, I think I would then flex Michael Wilson and then play. I want to say Marks, but I don't know if he's going to play. If he doesn't, then pivot to Gainwell.
Rico Dowdle not even in your conversation after he had a comeback game last week.
I mean, he's in the conversation. If you want to swap him for those 3, they're all right there for me. So it's just pick your favorite. Mm-hmm. And I think with I guess you could say the same thing about like Gainwell. Like, what if Warren has a good game? Like Dowdo, like what if Chuba gets the hot hand and it's back to him this week? Like that's where I was leaning that way. And it's Tampa Bay, and they're good on the interior against the run with Vita Vea, and that's where Dowdle mixes.
So it feels like a Chuba game with the passing game and running outside. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's just tough to not start Rico, though. I mean, in 5 out of the last 6, not including that Rams game, I think he's had 17 touches. He appears to be the bell cow. I think I would put Rico in the flex. I'm going to play Zay Flowers as well for the reasons that Cody mentioned. He's a must start. And I think it comes down to the news of Marv, but I think I would start Michael Wilson as well.
Yeah, I think I'm right on the same page there. I'm playing Rico and Flowers, and then I'm playing Wilson if there's no Marv. And if there is Marv, I think I'm pivoting to Woody Marks. If there's no Marks, then I'm going to Gainwell.
I like it.
That was a really long answer, but injury is not making that easy. He also asked a tight end question. Would you start Schultz or Parkinson?
I think I'm going Parkinson based off of everything, and maybe I'm feeding in too much of the hype without the Adams. Somebody's got to get those goal line targets. Parkinson had 2 last week. I think I'm starting the hot hand.
I think I would go with Schultz, but I get the point.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the things 2 straight good ones from Parkinson. Parkinson was the red zone target once Adams was out of the game. So with no Adams tonight, I like Parkinson.
Parkinson also should only had 1 touchdown last week, but
I know. I don't know how that first one was a touchdown. Did he just? I guess they said he didn't have possession until he crossed the goal line or something. It was silly.
Yeah.
All right, Brandon on Facebook. Judkins, Travion, Kyron. We're sitting 1.
Sitting 1. Oh, buddy, this one is going to be tough. I think I'm going to say sit. I know we just talked about him. Sit Quinshawn. But if you told me at the end of the week Kyron had the worst game, I would not be surprised because of how good Seattle's defense is, but I think you have to play him.
George, what do you think? I put you on the spot for the 3rd pick last time.
No, you're good. I'm starting Kyron for sure. The numbers with the Travion thing kind of concerned me because I don't know if you guys checked out the TikTok I do every week with like stats you need to know. And it was interesting that Ramondre actually made the top 10 in running back snap percentage, despite Travion getting most of the carries. But a lot of it, I think, was pass pro stuff. But I think I'm also sticking with Travion. He's been too good. They're still making sure they get him 10 to 15 carries at least. And even though I do like Judkins this week, I'm sitting him.
And I think I'm benching Kyron for the reasons Cody mentioned, just with that Steelers defense. The run defense looks good. Does weather play an impact tonight because they're maybe not going to be throwing as much in 40-mile-per-hour gusts? Maybe. But I honestly think Judkins is in for a big game. You can't bench Travion after last week. And even despite with Stevenson being in there for a good share, I think the Seahawks defense can shut Kyron down tonight. Or there's that guy, Blake Corum, that should be on everybody's roster right now that could be stealing some touchdowns.
I'm wondering if it is very different by platform because every week I post add Corum and there's at least one person that's like, where is Corum available? And I look at NFL.com where we get all of our numbers from. He's only 20% owned. Yeah. He must be pretty widely owned on Sleeper, Yahoo, etc.
Well, no one should play on Yahoo, so that platform sucks.
ESPN.
Okay, bro, you're getting worse.
Yeah.
Blake Corum, though, is currently 59% owned in Sleeper.
So even yet, he still meets our criteria.
And I can pick him up right now if I wanted to.
There you go. All right. I think we got through starts. We're on to sits. And I guess let's go reverse order. Kemby, pick your first player for sit.
All right, my first sit this week. I am going to go with Jalen Warren. I mentioned him a little bit earlier in the question of asking Jalen Warren or Judkins. I am confidently sitting Jalen Warren this week. Based off of what I saw in the game script against Miami, they were up and they still had Kenny Gainwell in. Uh, I think that, I mean, the Lions have a strong run defense, giving up minimal touchdowns to running backs. I think you're going to see them passing a lot in this game. It could be a bigger Kenny Gainwell game compared to Jalen Warren. So I am going to have Jalen Warren, despite the high projections in a lot of leagues, sit on my bench.
I like that. I honestly think Gainwell's kind of surpassed him in fantasy value because of the passing game work. Like Warren is still their number one running back, but it's crazy that Gainwell still gets some touches and he's like their number 2 receiver.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. Before I give you my sit, can I go back to the starts? And I
Sure.
have a question.
Yeah,
We didn't really talk about it because we don't like talking about the Saints because although they're on a pretty good streak here, David Neal did get put on IR today. There's still no Alvin Kamara. Audric Estime is the next guy up. How are we feeling about, like, if you need a spot start, him versus the Jets, which have been deceptible?
I think I would like that. I would like Estime. I picked him up in our league of record. I trust him. Do I love it? No. I'm hoping I don't have to start him this week, but I think he's worth an ad.
I think he's worth an ad. I think you can play him in a pinch. I wasn't somebody who loved Devin Neal either, but I could do it if I needed it.
What if you were like Ashton Genty versus Houston or Audric Estime versus the Jets?
I'm so low on Genty right now that I'm debating it at least.
No, that's
I'm going down with the ship. If I have to start, Genty in a bad matchup, I don't think I can live with myself if I bench Genty, even getting 15 points compared to an Estime who might get 7.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about running back 3 or 4 on a bad team. It's like the same situation of like, I feel like talking about this is like talking about Michael Carter.
okay. I mean, I'm just saying Genty hasn't passed 6.1 points in the last 3 weeks. So if you're trying, if you need, so you might not even be playing with him at this point. You might be on your couch home, but I had to throw him out there. I can go back to our sits though. Change the conversation back to the sits. And for me,
first off, I mentioned Michael Carter. Why don't we throw a fan question? Sorry about that. Parkinson, Aaron Jones, or Michael Carter in a full PPR?
God, am I really going to pick a tight end?
That's exactly what I said in my head.
Yeah.
Look, I thought Aaron Jones was going to have a big game last week. I mean, he has another good matchup this week, but he has just been so not great for fantasy.
And that split's been killing us. Like, it's been enough of
there's no rhyme or reason for it either. Like sometimes it's the Jones is in the red zone, sometimes it's Mason. Like you can't even bank on one of them getting the red zone work. So I think I'm gonna have to go Parkinson with no Devontae Adams on this one.
I would lean towards Michael Carter just because of who's behind him. He is the guy, and you guys are spot on with Aaron Jones, with Mason Jordan or Jordan Mason, whatever your name is with 2 first names. And I know I said it wrong last time, and I'm still not even confident on which one it is. But Michael Carter, I believe, is the guy that you want to go to with the 2 first names. Aaron Jones, Mason Jordan, Jordan Mason, or how about CJ Ham running in for a touchdown? That's why I don't think you can trust that. I'm between Carter and Parkinson. I'm going Carter because he's the guy.
What about Estime? That guy, he has to be available.
This guy really wants to have someone to start Audric Estime.
Yeah.
What look? We say Michael Carter, Demo Carter. Maybe he doesn't drop the ball at the 1 and he gets the long touchdown. Like It's just that's a tough one. Full PPR.
DeMarcado has been hurt still too. Like they say it's Michael Carter, and then like DeMarcado is kind of like the pass catching guy, but it might literally just be Michael Carter.
So
they're
good
just
luck.
bad. I'm leaning Parkinson, as crazy as it is. It feels crazy too because normally I'm a guy that goes with opportunity, and the opportunity guy out of this group is Michael Carter. So if you feel comfortable with trying to find a floor, I'd say that. Parkinson, it's insanely risky, but I think there's a lot of us out there that think that he's going to have a big night.
I think I've been swayed to Michael Carter. Like thinking about this question, I don't know if I want to go down swinging with 2 tight ends because this is obviously a flex spot. So unless you're playing in one of those cool leagues that you don't have to start a tight end anymore, I think I'm going to go with Michael Carter. So I might have just pushed it back to 2-1.
Pushed it 2 on Michael Carter. So there's your answer, Andrew.
At least we have 3 people, and it's not George and I split like most weeks.
There's plenty few times you and I are split, but I feel like even more today, there's been a lot of split. So a lot of pressure coming into the second round of the fantasy playoffs. I cut you off before, Cody. Who do you have as your first sit?
I don't even remember. You just cut me off. So let's go with my first sit being, this is me stalling pretty bad right now.
Do you want me to go first?
Yes, please.
Cool. I'll pick a running back. I'm going to sit Tony Pollard versus Kansas City. So I know everyone's like, you were starting Tony Pollard. Pollard had more than 15 half PPR points in 3 straight games. And he had over 100 and a touchdown last week. So I think a lot of people are starting to jump back on the bandwagon, but KC has a good defense despite them not having a good team overall. So don't even think about it. Give me Michael Carter instead.
All right. The reason I was stumbling so much is because I was like, do I really want to put this one out there? And it's not that bold or crazy or anything like that. But I'm going to say sit Scary Terry. Obviously, we talked about earlier this week, Jaden Daniels is done. I know the Eagles fans are on the show with me are scared of Washington because they always get. So is it going to be this week? Is it going to be in 2 weeks? I just remember back to last year, Quinshawn covered Terry pretty well. I believe the one game he got 0 targets, 0 catches, a lot of cardio. I think with Mariota, we might be into something similar. So I'm going to lean sit Scary Terry. And the Eagles fans on the show probably aren't going to say anything because they don't want to reverse jinx or jinx, however way they want to look at it.
No comment.
Terry used to feast on Darius Slay. That's all. I'll leave it there. He used to do that. There's no Darius Slay anymore.
So this is also just more of like a Mariota versus the Eagles kind of thing too. But I mean, the Eagles
technically
are
revenge game.
Bro, Mariota's been. That's like saying every team Fitzpatrick played was a revenge game.
Hey, you got to paint some sort of narrative.
His revenge would be
Josh
against the
McCown
Falcons.
had a revenge game against half the league. So,
yeah, I love it though. As an Eagles fan, Cody, I hope you are so right. But my next sit would be a name that has almost been on a roller coaster, I would say, over the last 5 years, and that's David Montgomery. Known as the 2-headed back or monster back from Detroit. I am sitting him this week because I think this is Jahmyr Gibbs' week. We saw the pattern that Jahmyr Gibbs was on, the 3 touchdowns, 0 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, 0 touchdowns. I think this is his week. I think the Steelers can stop the run, but I don't think they can stop the pass to the running backs. And I think you're going to see a lot of Jahmyr Gibbs passes or catches, I should say. And I think it's going to be tough for Montgomery to run. Maybe he scores a touchdown. I'm facing him in the league of record this week, so I'm kind of hoping that I'm right. But I think it's going to be the Jahmyr Gibbs week. Montgomery, I don't see a huge game.
I'm very much looking forward to Jahmyr Gibbs now going off after he failed me last week in the World Cup. It'd be fitting. And I trust in the pattern.
Mm-hmm.
And pattern
it's like the moon.
Trust.
We don't have much that we can trust in the fantasy world. We use our gut and get, burned
And are
so
the
many
Lions
times,
playing
but
the Packers with a waxing gibbous? That's all we really need to know about.
Yep.
we know astrology and
No, we don't know astrology. We just know if it's a waxing gibbous on Thanksgiving versus the Packers, it's not going to be a good day for the Lions.
Can't argue with the moon.
no, you cannot argue with the moon. All right. My next sit, I'm gonna stick with running backs. I'm gonna sit RJ Harvey versus Jacksonville. And Harvey has been a touchdown machine, so there's a good chance he ends up scoring a touchdown here and making me look dumb. But Jacksonville is a very tough matchup, and it seems like Harvey's been struggling since he's been the number one guy. He's just been salvaged by all the touchdowns. So I feel like we're in the exact same situation as Cody was earlier in the year when he kept saying sit Rashad White, and then Rashad White would score a touchdown and make it look bad. But what happens if he doesn't?
What happens if he doesn't? Couldn't have spoken better words right there, George. What happens if he doesn't? That's the way we look at all of this.
Doesn't.
Does this mean it's my turn again?
Yes, it is.
Because that's not good. Because let's go with. I talked about it. Let's go with Jalen Waddle. Let's sit him too. He wasn't used much last week. Maybe that was Tua. Maybe it was the cold. Quinn Ewers. Unless some magical stuff has happened, I've never thought he was an NFL caliber quarterback. I am very intrigued, but I don't expect a big output. So I will go him as my sit. Jalen Waddle. And hope he doesn't take the end around or the screen 70 yards for the touchdown.
Yep. That's always a threat, but I agree with you.
I agree with you too. It's too sketchy to play Jalen Waddle. It stinks too because he actually looked like he was going to be so good after the Tyreek Hill injury, and he's just been disappointing. All right. I have a series of comments here from Jacob on YouTube. All right. Do or die, Jacoby Brissett. Do I?
Yes.
Yes, you do Jacoby Brissett there, Mr. Fenstermacher. I believe actually it's one of my streams of the week coming up. Whether he has Marv or not, I think at this point you start Jacoby Brissett. He's the gunslinger right now. So I think.
Do you know what his lowest finish as a quarterback is since week 7? QB 12.
Whew.
So in 12-point leagues, tier 1.
Man's been good. Cardinals looked a lot better with him. I mean, at least in the numbers section, not in the win section, but
the other thing about him,
he rolled him.
Of those 9 games, he's had over 40 attempts and 7 of them.
They're just slinging it around.
And he's going to get the Maserati back hopefully this week.
I hope so, for my sake. And I think you want him for your sake too. You have him in a dynasty league.
And I'm starting. I don't know who I'm going to start because AJ Barner would be my backup, but he's not. I'm holding out hope. So he plays on Thursday.
Estime.
Is he available? I'll go pick him up.
You can only start 2 running backs in that league. You're probably already starting 2.
Yeah, I am.
All right, another one here from Jacob. Also, Saints defense. Am I really about to start them? Yes, I am starting them.
Yeah, Jake, honestly, right now I think you're stealing a lot of my streams of the week, which is our next segment. I love the Saints defense this week. I think they are a lock in most fantasy defenses right now.
Yeah, I'm with you. We talked about the Saints the last couple of weeks as a fantastic playoff schedule. Panthers last week, I know it didn't produce too much more than 4 fantasy points, but you get the Jets and then the Titans. So could be one of those sneaky ads late that help you catapult you from the DST spot.
Definitely. And then we have Jordan Love on the show. Jordan Love 1283. That's a Packers username if I ever saw one. PPR wide receiver 2 and flex. Michael Wilson, DK, Watson, Sutton, Pittman, and Evans since Harrison is back.
All right. So
we think, at least with Harrison, by the way.
Yeah, we're assuming he's going to be back. I think Evans is in there. Pittman's out with Grandpa. If Harrison is back, I'm going to assume Mac Wilson is out. And then Watson banged up a little bit, so he's probably out. I don't know where I'm left with. So I'm going Evans and Sutton. That's just where I'm going. I think they're the best two on the. I mean, since I found out you're a Bears fan, Christian Watson's definitely the best receiver on this list, but you can keep him on your bench.
That is unfortunate almost because I mean, wide receiver with number 83 when we were a kid. I'm trying to think of who it was.
Wide receiver 83.
Wasn't there a wide receiver with 83?
Bro, on the Bears?
No, on the Packers.
83? That was Marquez, I think, for a little bit.
I mean, like way back with Rodgers.
Way back with Rodgers? Jeff Janis.
Okay, no, so not what I'm thinking. I'm just mixing it up. But anyway, I'm also going Evans and Sutton. I agree with you.
Yeah, I completely agree with you guys. I think that's the first sweep we've had of the night with all three of us agreeing on the same guys. And I'm sorry to this Jordan Love guy. If you're really a Bears fan with the name Jordan Love, I'm sorry.
Hey, he's got the name of his father. It's fine.
Oh.
Getting out of here this question before he unsubscribes. Appreciate you commenting. Myers or Fairbairn and Colby or Ferguson.
Myers, I guess. I like Dicker better, but I would have picked. That was an earlier question. I would pick Myers in this case, and then Colby, Parkinson, or probably Colby, I guess, with no Devontae.
Agreed. Myers and Colby.
Man, we're hitting a stride here at the right time. Myers and Colby for me as well.
Whew, we're sweeping.
All right. Go ahead and hit a bumper, Cody. Take us into streams of the week.
Hang on. This dude said, let's go. So I'm just going to pretend that's what he's telling me to do.
Full throttle. Appreciate you getting Cody's button here. Okay. So we're going to go 2 quarterbacks, 2 tight ends, 2 defenses here on the stream. Some of them we've already mentioned, so we can kind of hit through them pretty quick. But I'll hit a quarterback first. I like CJ Stroud a whole lot versus Vegas, and that's somebody who we actually had on our wire this past Monday. So not a whole lot more to add.
Yeah, I think since a lot of the streams that I was mentioning, we kind of hit on a little bit. The only question I have for you guys is CJ Stroud against the Vegas Raiders or Bryce Young against the Bucks. Who would you guys start?
Sorry, who was the first name? I zoned out.
CJ Stroud versus Vegas or Young versus the Bucks.
I'm
rolling Stroud.
I'm rolling with Stroud.
All right, we'll be Stroud this week.
Young has been fine, but like I don't know. I don't think I've seen enough of a pattern to like feel comfortable throwing him in unless I'm like absolutely desperate. So Stroud's been solid, and then he's in a great matchup. And then other quarterback that we have on our streams is Jacoby Brissett. We already talked a lot about Jacoby Brissett and even in other situations. So I'm going to skip over that to tight ends.
Throw in
2
9.
tight ends. What was that?
We can throw in 9.
Throw in 9. Sure, we talked about him too.
Yeah.
Cool. 2 tight ends we have on our board. We have Colby Parkinson. We talked a lot about him as well. Other one is Darren Waller I have on here versus Cincy. I know the quarterback thing kind of concerns me. I did have this kind of locked in before the switch to yours, but Cincy is still so bad against tight ends. I still think there's a use case where Waller can be good because if you're going to throw it to him 5-10 yards down the field, down the middle, Cincy is susceptible.
Yeah, I saw a random stat last week that if you took the tight end production that faced Cincinnati this season, you would have the 7th most yardage in the league. So just taking any random tight end that we've talked about on the dartboard, they would be the 7th best wide receiver, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, so I like that. I'm going to add one more tight end on here, and I'm going to throw it into this fan question here. Struggling with the options at tight end. Free agent is Schultz, Loveland, Henry, Strange. He struggles to bench Warren, which we talked about a little bit ago, but Grandpa River scares him. Does he go Warren Mark Andrews, or a free agent. And the free agent on the list that really intrigues me is Colston Loveland. I know it's against Green Bay. I know it's being in the cold, but with no Adunze, with no Luther Burden, I expect an uptick in the tight end usage. So that would be the free agent option that I would go for as like a stream this week. Unless
I would
George
agree with that.
loves Cole Kmet so much that
I knew it was coming. And I didn't even bring up Colston Loveland on the show because I was hoping to get through it without being like, but Cole Kmet. But now that we're here, yeah, no, I agree. Colston Loveland, because somebody has to catch the ball in Chicago.
Yeah. There's your sweep again, because I'm in the same boat. I mean, I think I would go with Mark Andrews over Tyler Warren, as crazy as it is to say. But yeah, Rivers scares me too much. Schultz is nice, but honestly, look what happened to Eagles last week. If Vegas lets up the same amount of points and can't score, and they're done in the third quarter, no, too much. I am definitely going with Loveland.
I don't think Schultz is going to quite get the treatment that Dallas Goedert did last week. So it's like, if you tell me that ends up being Nico Collins and he's done in the third quarter but has 20, I could see that.
Yeah.
I don't know where we're at.
One more question actually here. Daddle, Sutton, or Olave, pick one. All right, Tom Brady.
Are you a Bills fan? Or is that what we're doing now with these usernames? I'm going Sutton.
Yeah. Give me Sutton this week. I think he's in for a big matchup.
Sutton for me as well. Hitting our stride still here. Defenses here on streams. 2 we have on our list here. The Chiefs versus the Titans and the Saints versus the Jets. So yes, we are playing the Saints.
Confidently playing the Saints too. I think this is a week for them to turn their franchise around. I don't know if they're still over the cap, but hopefully it's a nice win for them.
And I don't know what their own percentage total is. They might be too high at this point. I think if like San Fran is sitting out there, they get the Colts this week with Grandpa. So
it's not going to look like a good matchup because of the history of the Colts, but like the situation, it's very reading between the lines a little bit. I like it.
All right. And then throwing out Tom Brady one more time. Broncos or Patriots defense. I know the Patriots have probably the better matchup. Who are they playing again? I forget. This is terrible radio.
Radio? Nice. They have the Ravens, which is kind of can go either way at this point this season.
I'm taking the Broncos, though. They're on pace to break the 85 Bears sack record. So sacks are worth a lot of points. Lawrence has been really good of late, but he can always take a step back. So I'm going Broncos.
Broncos for me as well. It's a good one, though.
I would agree with the Broncos this week, but if you can somehow grab that Patriots defense, and if you are confident you're going to make the championship, they are playing the Jets next week. So they will instantly be set. So if you're confident, you got Broncos against Kansas City next week. So that matchup has changed drastically if you would have looked at it in the beginning of the year. But keep your eye on both of those defenses next week if you are confident that you're making it.
Doesn't hurt if you're in a semifinal and you have somebody on your bench who you know you're not going to start and you know is not going to get started against you. Doesn't hurt to drop them for a streaming defense next week. Like I did that in our League of Record. I picked up the Buccaneers who have Miami next week, especially with that backup quarterback. That is juicy.
Yeah, I'm going to actually guess that he has both sitting on his lineup because they've both been so good.
Yeah,
this year.
Yeah.
Does not hurt to be able to mix and match something like that because, defenses, we say like just stream them. It's not a big deal. But when you have defenses, there's been some defenses that have been difference makers this year and good matchups, especially.
Do I have a bumper for the next segment?
I think you do. Games of the week. Let's do it when you have your button. All right. So what we usually do here, Kempy, is you and I would go first before Cody names out every honorable mention in the book so he doesn't take our picks. So I'll let you go first here. What do you have as your game you must watch this week?
All right, I'm going to steal it right from Cody, which I know that he might not be able to pick, but I am really looking forward to this Packers and Bears games. I know there's been injuries on both sides of the ball right now for both teams. I am excited to see the possibilities of this game, though. It's always a big rivalry game. I'm excited to see who Caleb Williams is going to throw to. I'm excited to see which running back will excel. I know Swift is still questionable. Could be a big Monangai game. Josh Jacobs is plugging along right now, but I still think he is due for a big game as well. So I'm excited to see this one.
Plugging along is a great way to put it because he's been banged up and just kind of like gets up and keeps ticking. And you can tell it's not quite right, but it's still working.
Yeah. Very excited for this one.
Yeah, it's a good one. I'm going to go with two borderline playoff teams that are potentially fighting for their lives this week, and that's Steelers-Lions. I normally like opposite conferences. It's not really that intriguing of a game, but like Steelers with a win, and then they sit back and watch Baltimore. They have a chance to put themselves in a really good spot for their division, that playoff spot. Lions need some help, and they need a win pretty much out to get into the playoffs, to catch up to some of those 9-10 win wild card teams. So a lot of playoff hopes at stake in this game.
Yeah, I think both of you guys picked great games. Obviously, they have meaning for each other. If the Packers beat the Bears and then Rodgers does the Packers a solid and beats the Lions, that'll clinch the Packers a playoff spot. Vice versa for whoever wins that game. If the Lions lose, they clinch a playoff spot. Packers, Bears. But it's my turn to talk about games. I think the Thursday night game was really good, but we're going to talk about that in a second, so I'll move on from that one. I mean, how could we not get excited about the two Redbirds going at it? Falcons at Arizona. I mean, whew, battle of the skies right there. But in all seriousness, the game I'm paying attention to is the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Denver Broncos. Denver is on an 11-10 game win streak now, 11-game win streak. They start out 1-2. They now have 12 wins, I think. Is that the right math? So 11 games win streak. Jacksonville's playing really good. Jacksonville needs a win to stay ahead of the Texans, who have the Raiders. So you expect them to get a win as well. So that game at 4:00 on Fox, the two AFC matchups, because we're still weird, is my game of the week.
I like it. I mean, a lot of good games on the slate, so I didn't know how many you were going to run through as honorable mentions, but I think we hit most of them, especially that Cardinals and Falcons game. Definitely the most intriguing.
I could have said the Sunday night game, Baltimore versus New England. That one could be fun as well.
I mean, especially if you see the Steelers end up losing to the Lions, and then the Ravens come into that, smelling blood in the water. They still have one more head-to-head with Pittsburgh. A lot they could play for, or it could end up being like a desperation, have to keep pace too. Like either way, it's going to be a solid matchup there.
And it's New England's not fighting for anything. Like they have a slim lead on the Bills, but the Bills beat them last week. So if the Bills could sneak back into the one seed, essentially, or not the one seed, but the top seed in the AFC East, if the Patriots continue to slide. And I just know we're all rooting for everyone to get to 11-6, 7 teams or whatever it was, 7 teams, same record, AFC chaos. That I don't remember all the permutations that have to happen, but we'll repost that on TikTok or something if you want to check that out.
Yeah, somehow the Patriots are not going to make the playoffs if this comes true, which is mind-boggling, but still possible. And I love chaos. I'm all for it.
Kemp be the chaos coordinator, as we called him in the offseason. I'm sure he'll be back as the chaos coordinator for us again, too, because you had too much fun.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Before we get out of here, let's preview this really good, really important Thursday night preview. Rams at Seahawks. We got the weather we're dealing with. Rams 1.5 underdogs on the road, over under at 42.5. And obviously the Rams without Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
We hit a lot of these guys throughout this game. One guy we haven't hit on is JSN, and I think he is going to be the difference maker tonight. If JSN has success, the the Seahawks will walk away with this game and will possibly walk away with the 1 seed. If he doesn't, this is LA's game to lose.
I mean, it's still obviously a chance if the Seahawks jump in there, they don't get the 1 seed too. They're still fighting with Chicago and such, but the Rams almost essentially lock up the 1 seed if they win this game because they basically fend off the Seahawks. I know the Eagles can't really touch them. The Bears would be the next closest team, and we've said it a couple of times. The Bears have the toughest remaining schedule in the whole NFL. I don't think the Packers are going to let them go down easy after this, even though it's the second matchup. So it's important, and I don't think the Rams are really primed to be at their best. On top of it being a Thursday night game, missing Davante Adams, there's off the field stuff with Puka. There's a lot going on around them that it's like the least confident that I've felt in them coming into a tough matchup, maybe all season.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. That should be a really good game. Potentially, probably the best Thursday night game of the year. Hopefully, I always think it's interesting to check out the playoff simulator over on the New York Times Athletic, whatever you want to call it. Interestingly enough, though, even though they both have the same records, and this is basically, you would think, a game for the 1 seed, they give the Rams a 90% chance to get the 1 seed with a win. But if the Seahawks get it, they only get a 52% chance of the 1 seed. So must be some other tiebreakers in there that we're not fully aware of or anticipating how things play out in those 4,000 simulations. But should be a good one. I do think the loss of Davante Adams will be felt. Short week going to Seattle is never easy, and I liked what Kempy mentioned about JSN being the ultimate difference maker.
Yeah, and this is, I believe, the first Thursday night football game in the past 2 or 3 years since Thursday Night Prime is a thing that has featured 2 11-win teams. So you were right on there. This is one of the best Thursday night matchups. The schedule makers got this one right in the beginning of the year. No need to flex. So I think I'm looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen this weekend with some fantasy playoff matchups.
Remember, make sure your lineups are set before Saturday evening. 2 Saturday evening games, one with the Eagles and Commanders, and then one that Packers-Bears game that Kempy mentioned earlier. So make sure if you're out there in fantasy playoffs, you don't just wait till Sunday morning. Make sure everything's good outside this Thursday game. Check it out Saturday morning.
Yeah, and it's the weird 5 p.m. Eastern start for the first game. So not the 4:25 that you're accustomed to, the 5 p.m. start.
I don't get it. They're just throwing everything at us. We're all willy-nilly at this point.
Yeah.
Hey, more NFL football, the better. And I think that's how we will wrap up this episode of the Couch GMs podcast. First off, Kempy, thank you for filling in. I was happy that my work was hop on. Like George mentioned at the top of the show, we will only be here on Tuesday of next week, but live 6:30, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. Best of luck to everybody in their semifinal matchups, and hopefully you make it on the championships. We'll be back to break it all down. Follow us on social media at the Couch GMs everywhere. I'm Cody Roadcap, that's George Firth, and our good friend Kemp, the Chaos Coordinator. We'll talk to you all next week.